Lauren, how are you?
Hey, Lauren, how are you?
Hey, Lauren, how are you? So what we're going to start doing is interviewing people that inspire us. Weekly, monthly, I have no idea, but stay tuned. We'll have more inspirational interviews in the near future. But Lauren is going to be our very first. And the reason for that is that Lauren is one of my biggest inspirations. You are near and dear to my heart. And Lauren is a mixed media artist. Can I say that? Painter?
Really?
Painter, photographer.
Yes.
The hair is on point. Everything. She's an artist and a creative of the truest kind. So there's nobody better that we would love to showcase for the very first interview than Lauren. So would you mind telling us a little bit about you?
Sorry, my dog has a squeaky.
Can you show us your dog, please? Because it's really adorable. He's very cute.
Bowie, and he might be making squeaking noises throughout this.
No animals are harmed during the filming of this video.
Just after.
Just wanted to get that out of the way.
I am a new media photographer.
Okay, so what does that mean? Because I have no idea what that means.
I like to use different types of media, using the camera as one would, like as a painter would use a brush, more like a tool instead of capturing a moment, perhaps.
We wanted to ask you, have you always been interested in art? And I know the answer to that, but I'm sure most people don't know the answer to that. But can you speak about how that passion developed from an early age?
Sure. Well, when I was much younger, I always was interested in totally different things. I wanted to do sports. I wanted to do music. I wanted to do dancing. I would dance alongside.
Oh, that would have been good.
I know. I really miss my.
It'd be a whole different interview.
I would like dance alongside the TV with the Fly Girls on in Living Color, and it was just like I always wanted to do all these things, but my family didn't have a lot of money, so I pretty much just had like a sketchbook and a pencil, and I would just start drawing because it was cheap. And I like to just sit in a corner by myself and just kind of daydream. And it turns out I was pretty good at it, and I got a lot of attention for it. So I was like, hell, I might as well keep doing this. And I mean, now it's more of a thing where it's such a huge part of who I am that I can't even imagine doing anything else. And I've tried to do something else, but this is just what I do. There's no escaping it at all.
Well, where do you find inspiration?
I mean, I don't really follow other people's art too much, but I try to draw inspiration by just paying attention to what's going on in my life, how I'm feeling, what environments I'm interacting with. I found that the best work that I make is when I'm being honest to my own experience and not trying to pretend that I'm doing something else or that I know something that perhaps I don't. And if I don't know something, I use my work to try to figure that out.
Well, taking that, would you say that your work is more emotionally driven or socially driven?
I feel like when work is too personal, it's not approachable, and it's not something that a lot of people can kind of relate to. And one of my biggest pet peeves are when people are like, I don't get this. I don't get art, so I just stay away from it. It's such a shame. And that's why I don't really like when artists tend to make artwork for artists or for academics. Make what you make because that's the only thing that you can do.
I find that whenever I look at your work and over the years and all the different series you've had, there have been one constant theme, and that is taking something out of its natural environment and isolating it or transforming it into something else. You had your series of personal objects that was amazing, and that was taking objects in people's homes and then creating a completely new singular object out of that. So can you speak about that, and is that an intentional theme, or what does that mean to you?
Sure. Well, going through undergrad and graduate school, I was pretty much trying to figure out like what was my shtick, what was my theme, what's the underlying thread that connects all of these kind of disparate things that I do together. And, I realized that a lot of my work has to do with kind of intangibility in a sense that everything that we experience, everything that we look at is really just a projection of our understanding of what it is. And the reason why I tend to isolate these things is to draw more focus to the fact that it is and could also not be, in the sense that, like, okay, so when I make these piles with personal objects or buildings or things like that, it's almost like when I look at a building with the ordered windows and doors and things like that, I understand that to be a building. But why can't it exist as something else? Taking apart this and putting it here and here and here. Why does my bias have to tell me that it's a building? So yeah, and when I do figurative work, I've been told that, moving limbs and body parts around kind of lends a sense of violence, and I never could buy that because, I don't know, it's just a different way of seeing, it's a different order, like who's to say that it needs to be this way? It's just an agreed upon perception that we all have.
And how does that relate to you personally? That idea of questioning something as it is and creating something new with it, or that idea of transformation, or not seeing something at face value?
Well, I feel like everything that we interact with, you always have to question exactly what it is versus what you are told to believe that it is. I feel like, in this age with all of the different types of media and imagery and image saturation that we deal with, like our consciousness kind of acts as a filter to try to understand and take in everything. And I think that it sloughs off a lot and just keeps the crucial information. And I think that we become lazy in the way that we look at things and we just accept them for what they are. And what they are could just be a lazy projection of what we think it is.
Okay, so that's unbelievably complicated and beautiful all at the same time. But what's cool is everything that you're saying and all of these ideas are evident in your work because there's so many layers to your work. There's the initial composition that somebody sees when they stand far away, and that's like the overall shape that it's making within the negative space. And then you go a little bit closer and you're seeing something new every single time, whether it's the individual pieces that are creating that singular composition, or it's all of the different items that are now being presented to itself, and it's like you see something new every time you look at it.
One of my processes that I do all the time is I'll take an image, whether it's something I photograph or something, a found image. I'll print it out, I'll cut it up, I'll fold it up, I'll rephotograph it again, print it out, fold it up, rephotograph it again. So as the finished object, you can't really tell, is this a photograph? Is this a sculpture? Is this, what is this? And like you said, I would hope that the more that you look at it, the more you're unsure of the stability of it.
Well, where do you start? Is it that emotion that we talked about? Is it the concept? Is it the imagery themselves? I mean, where are you starting with that?
I tend to get very paralyzed when confronted with like a blank screen or a blank canvas or something like that. So I tend to just pull found imagery. It's the easiest way for me to just start working, because if I try to sit here and like think about what it should look like, I'm already making the work in my head and not in real life. So what's the point? So I think that, doing like a smash and grab of things and just kind of putting them together, you're relying more on your instinct of what it needs to be rather than what you think it should be.
Well, then tell me about artist block, because I know that's something that we've spoken about recently, and it's something that you're having to deal with. And it sounds like it's really easy to get caught up in your head with these different ideas, and whether you're staring at a blank canvas or have too many things going on in your head. How do you deal with artist block?
Well, I am dealing with artist block currently.
Yeah, how's that going for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's going. I think that you are correct in the things that you've told me in the past, in the sense of I need to get out of my own head because I do live way too much in there, and I think I over dramatize things that aren't necessary. I think that you just need to work and not worry about what it should be or what stage you should be at. I think that, for me, painting is such a hugely emotionally charged act because it made me so happy. I know this sounds so cheesy, but I feel like it's the closest to like feeling God that I've ever felt in my life. The act of painting, just being able to really just let go. And, when I was in undergraduate school, I had a teacher who told me, you don't really know how to paint, do you? And I mean, that crushed me. And so I haven't painted that much since. And I think it's just so silly because it's just an act. Just do it. Just get started. I think that that's the hardest part, but it's also like the first and only step is to just get started and not care about what it's supposed to look like.
So I want to switch gears a little bit, and I know that you've always had a keen ear for music, and I'd love to know what kind of music you're listening to while you're creating, or what's your top 5 right now?
Ryan, you're gonna be so disappointed. No, it's not bad. I mean,
Okay, good.
it's more sad. I don't really listen to music anymore.
All right, so I'm gonna end the interview now. Okay.
No, okay, so when I first moved to New York, I listened to music constantly, like in headphones, while I was working, while I was painting, while I was doing whatever. But then I realized that, like, when you're walking down the street and you have your headphones in and you're listening to whatever you're listening to, that music is so deeply influential on how you're experiencing your life in a great way. But I feel like it's almost lending a soundtrack to something that maybe isn't really happening, and you disconnect from people, you disconnect from being in the moment, like you're not entirely present.
Or that's helping to create the moment in itself.
Yeah.
Something you otherwise never would have experienced or felt in the first place.
Yeah, but it's a totally internal experience, I feel. Unless you're out dancing or something. But I feel like the way that music makes you feel is totally internal, and being out and living your life in the moment is something that kind of, like I said, like I draw inspiration from just being in the moment and paying attention, because you never know what you're going to miss if you're just kind of like, walking around.
What are you working on now? Anything? Have you taken that plunge into just creating? And the dog is really adorable behind you.
I think that so I've been doing The Artist's Way, which I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's this kind of 12-week process to overcoming an artist block. And I never wanted to read it because I thought the cover was so cheesy and so like new age airy-dairy, which I happen to love, by the way, but I was just like a little embarrassed. Anyway, I started reading it, and one of the things that comes up in it is you need to create structure for yourself, and you need repetition. And I think, again, one of the reasons why it's difficult for me to start working is because the act of working is so loaded with expectations that I don't start. And so one of the things I'm doing now is I'm taking, and I'm trying to overcome my fear of painting. So I'm taking a class at the New York Art Academy in Tribeca to learn classical figurative painting.
I have a little... Dog is ridiculous. I just like to show, if anybody is watching this, I know that Lauren and I are adorable today, and you might be fooled by how cool we look.
I swear to God.
Right now.
Ryan.
But we weren't always this way.
Ryan.
I would just like to show you Lauren and Ryan. The high school years.
Oh, man.
I just like you to get a look.
Prince Jr. and Kristen Stewart.
This adorable guy. And this angry girl.
And that big girl.
I saw this, I had to bring it.
I know.
So what in 10 years? What
Oh
are you
man, I would hope to be out of New York by then. Living in a house, just making my artwork all day, every day. That's it.
That's
My lovely wife
awesome.
coming home.
You what?
My lovely wife coming home to me. Little redheaded children, maybe, I don't know, walking around. We'll see. Or maybe just a bunch of dogs.
Maybe.
I just want a simple life, right?
Better than a bunch of cats. Sorry for all the cat lovers. Better than a bunch of cats. All right. Well, most importantly, one last question. Can you please make a funny face?
I can't.
I think you can.
This face is as funny as it gets.
That face can make a funny face. I've seen it.
You do a funny face and I'll mirror it.
I've been making funny face this whole time. I've been watching myself in the little corner.
Do something first. I can't.
Okay, well that was
I know, that was awesome.
I feel like I was just baited.
I know.
You stink.
I love you.
I love you. Oh. I have one more little thing. So we've been talking about your work, and we're going to be showing some of your work throughout this video, but I did bring something in that is really special to me, and it is, I believe, representative in your in your personal objects series. But Lauren made this awesome piece for Chris and I on our wedding, and it's our house, and
then they moved about a week later.
And then we moved about a month later, actually.
A nice memory then.
But it means so much to me, and I just wanted to put that up there. So this was awesome, and
thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're really appreciative that you were able to take some time and talk to this guy.
Awesome.
And you have great hair, as usual. And I do want to show one other picture.
Oh,
Lauren and Ryan. Look at that hair.
Precious.
I think I did your makeup in this picture.
You did. I gotta go finish cleaning my house.
You mean cleaning everything beyond
Yes.
what's directly behind you? That's it. I think we're good. We got it.
Are you satisfied?
I think so. Are you satisfied?